Okay, hello everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the revision class of the course POL311. And I want to congratulate each and every one of us, especially those of us that have been with us since 100 level. I mean, this is 300 level first semester. It's been a wonderful time. And it happens to be your very first pen on paper exam. So before we go into the nitty-gritty, all right, of the revision for tonight's class, you need to understand certain things about the examination you will be writing tomorrow. All right. So just before we go into that, for those of us who are new to the stream, let's ensure to subscribe to the channel. Very important. Also, like this stream if you haven't done that, and hit the comment section. Let's know, all right, where you're watching from. Don't have to say hi, and most importantly, you know how we do our revision. It's just a little bit different from what we do when we have the CBT revision, all right, but it's still the same question and respond. We've taken this class, so you have been doing your studying, and I believe by now you have gotten the keynote. If you haven't gotten the keynote, ensure you request the keynote. It's your best chance, your best shot at cementing good grades in your exam tomorrow. You can get it tonight and still cover a lot. Don't go about looking for past questions. Don't get yourself complicated. Don't get the whole thing complicated. Get the keynote tonight. All you need to do is just go to our official website, www.tutorio.net. Takes you to our home page where you find the WhatsApp button on the first top hand right corner. In the top right hand corner, use that WhatsApp button to send us a direct message and we'll guide you on how to get the keynotes. Now, with this being said, I also want to encourage us because this semester we understand that some issues with the calendar happened last semester and it affected the calendar. So this semester is pretty short because for this department we haven't covered a lot of courses. Or like I usually encourage most of the students in private class, even before the semester begins, like just 1 week after the exam, take 1 week break before you register for the next semester. Register for your classes first. There's a way we check, even though you've not registered for the semester, there's a way we check in advance the courses you are taking for the next semester. Let's start taking your classes. So even when you have registered later on in the semester, we are not starting from scratch. We are taking it off from where we have been. With that, we can cover a lot without rushing. Enough of that. Let's go straight into tonight's class. Okay. All right. I can see the comment section is active. Wonderful. Mrs. Regina says, "Good evening, sir. It's great to have you on board." Mr. Joe. We also have Ms. Tasha. What Daniela says, "Good evening. It's great to have you on board." So now, I highly welcome Ms. Immaculate and Tech Manager. So like I said, there are things you must bear in mind. First, you are not getting straightforward, all right? No straightforward questions. I'm not saying it's impossible to get straightforward questions, but the chances of getting straightforward questions, and what do I call straightforward questions? Questions like define politics, questions like define political analysis. It is very rare for you to come across such questions, but you want to come across questions that will twist that same thing you know. It will twist it up and make it look a whole lot different from what you have known. But trust me, like I usually preach, like I usually emphasize, when you have the proper concept, the concept behind the course itself, it makes the comprehension of any question that will be set in the exam easy for you. Now, when we say POL311, the basic thing about this course, the all and sundry of this course has to do with political analysis. And with political analysis, there are a lot of approaches and theories that makes up this course. Series of approaches, of theories, all right, explaining one thing, political analysis. Different angles to it. So no matter the questions you are getting, is going to be around the concept of the course, which is political analysis. So bear in mind that you are not going to be getting a straightforward question or straightforward questions. And most time, it's a different thing that you understand, you have an idea of what the question is. It's another thing for you to express yourself correctly. Okay? So please, if you know you have issues with expressing yourself, you can request a blank sheet or go into the exam hall with a blank sheet. You must show your invigilator. You can use that as a rough sheet, because when it comes to on computer now, you can delete and retype. It will be very unprofessional. It will be very unprofessional, number one, and it will be below standard for somebody at this level to write answers poorly or shabbily, construct answers poorly or shabbily in your answer sheet. If you are putting down, and what am I saying when I say poorly or shabbily? Like you are cancelling, you keep on cancelling. You write a thing, you cancel, you go back and forth. It's not a good one. So if you have issues expressing yourself correctly at glance or at a goal or at once, please request for a blank sheet. Use that one as rough work. So when you have put your answers correctly in your rough blank sheet, or the one used as rough work, you can now put it down in your answer sheet clearly and correctly. Don't forget, it's not only your answer sheet that these professors or these invigilators will be marking. So you want to keep your answer sheets very clean, your handwriting clear enough. Pen on paper is the easiest exam to pass, trust me. Alright, because it's not like the CBT that is garbage in, garbage out. Here, your input is welcome. When it comes to pen on paper, your input is welcome. In the sense that you don't have to give it word for word. When it comes to pen on paper, you don't have to give your answer word for word like we have it in the course material, or like we used to do in try to adjust my camera, or the way it used to be in the CBT exam. Your input is welcome, right? But you must not write out of context. You need to pay attention to that. So I've been able to explain all these things to us. So now let's go into the main revision class for tonight. I will not be doing this in our next class because this is our first revision class. Okay, so I am preparing our mind towards the exam we are going to write tomorrow. Okay, and when you come across questions like number one is compulsory, answer any other three questions. When you look at that number one and you are not sure, please leave that number one. You can leave the first page of your answer sheet. Leave that number one and move to the next question, the ones that you know. Don't go and waste your time and resources on a question you know that you need to put in effort, think about first. Go for the ones that you know them, attempt them first, then come back to that one that you know that you need to think. Luckily, while you are even doing those ones you know, the answer of that number one will even drop. But it will be very disastrous, time wasting, and discouraging for you to have wasted all your time on the question you should know you need to think and think before you can get an answer to it. So all this I've explained to us properly. So please take note of all this. So now let's go into tonight's revision class. So I'll be asking some questions and I'm expecting us to give me straight and direct forward answers. You can write, if you're using your computer, fine, and you can type faster and write more words. But if you're using your smartphone, you can just give me maybe one or two phrases and we can move on with that. Okay, I need to adjust the camera a little bit. So now, like I said, the course is mostly about political analysis, looking at politics from different angles, approaches, and theories. So now, when we talk about political analysis, what is your input? All right, what do you understand by the term political what do you understand by the term political analysis? Now, you see this question now, you see that it's different from define political analysis. When we say what do you understand by political analysis, it's not the same thing as define political analysis. But when you say define analysis, political analysis, it looks very easy and cheap. So what do you understand now? You could understand a lot of things. I'm giving you the opportunity and the privilege to tell me what you think about that, what it means by the term political analysis. So I'm giving us 1 minute to quickly tell me something about it. Okay, so let's use the comment section and provide answers to that. Okay, I'm getting some nice responses already. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm loving our responses. Okay. Awesome. Wonderful. We all are, I so much love this definition. Okay? I so much love all the definition we are providing. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Let's keep the answers coming in. Awesome. Now we are doing great. I believe we already have the idea. It's all about the idea. Yes. It's all about the idea. Now, like I said, it does not have to be word for word. Now, look at everything we all have been saying. We have been saying the same thing differently. And that is the beauty of pen on paper. The same thing differently. Now, the problem will be if we are saying the same thing in the same way. Now, look at the definition we have here. Somebody first said, Ms. Tasha said, the analysis, all right, political analysis refers to that process, the method, the approaches in political science. These approaches, this process seeks one thing, to explain why certain political events occur. Okay? Now, not better verses there say a detailed explanation of how certain events occurs politically. Now, the same thing goes with what Mrs. Regina says. The analysis here is that we talk about processes, the method and approaches in political science that explains political events. Now, the key word everybody keep using is events in politics, event politically, event in political atmosphere, event within political activities. Everything points at politics, events within politics. And basically, that is how it works. We all have spoken well. Okay? So I can now see from this question that coming across certain questions, I'm confident that even though, now let me tell you something, when it comes to pen and paper, you will not always have an answer to all the questions. Yes, out of 6 or 8 questions. Don't forget, we are talking about a material of about 400,000 words, a material of about 800,000 words, a material of about 300 pages. You can definitely not know everything in that material. And don't forget, it's not just one course you are doing. All right, but out of 8 questions or 6 questions or 5 questions, at least you must be able to know one like this, one. And question one or question one of most of the questions comes with sub questions like question 1A, question 1B, 1C. All right, so at least you should be able to attempt one 100% correctly. Now others now cannot be on the basis of I feel this should be the answer. Like I usually say, you don't know it all, right? But when it comes to POP, you are free, you have that liberty to make an input. And for you to have an understanding of the course itself, making an input will not become a difficult thing. Okay? So now that I understand what it means by political analysis, I just want you to list only 2 types. Now, let me draw your attention to something. When you are being told to list, it's different from states. It's different from mention. It's different from explain. When you are being told to list, you are expected to just list out these types without explaining. When you are told to state, you need to explain while you list. Alright? When you are told to mention, basically you don't need much explanation to that. It's basically just highlighting. Alright, so in this case, I need you to list just 2 types of political analysis. List 2 types of political analysis. Okay. List 2 types of political analysis. Oh, wonderful. I'm getting some nice responses already. Awesome. Let's keep the answers rolling in. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, about 3 of them. We have the normative. Okay, awesome. All right, talks about, all right, it focuses on questions about the values, all right, that is attached to, all right, political activities, like the word from the word norms, normative from the norms of political analysis. All right, then we also have empirical. Empirical has to do with research, observations and research. All right, and we have semantic, which is commonly used in politics, all right, as semantics. Now it has to do with, all right, clarification. It has to do with detailing and clarification. So we've been able to attempt this successfully. So let's take a step further. Now, what do we understand by policy analysis? Now, policy is a thing on its own. We don't understand what it means by analysis, breaking down to get better and further understanding. So when I say policy analysis, what are we talking about? And don't forget, anything you are saying should be in line with the concept of this course. And the concept of this course has to do with political analysis. So when we talk about policy analysis, now what is the relevance? Why are we having policy analysis under political analysis? All right. So I don't know why I love pen and paper, because pen and paper you can be creative. All right. You begin to reason why are we having policy analysis under political analysis. Don't forget, the reason why we're having doing this course is because we want to know how politics work. All right. So we need to begin to dissect, analyze things. So during the process of dissecting, the process of analyzing, then we came, all right, we stumbled upon policy analysis. So what is the relevance of policy analysis in political analysis? Then you begin to ask yourself, what is policy? That's how you arrive at your answer. Then when you answer that question of what is policy, we refer to policy as guiding principles. All right, we refer to policies as standards. All right, we refer to policy as what makes an organization structure and functions effectively. All right, so for policy analysis now, we can begin to talk about, all right, we can begin to talk about, all right, standards. We can begin to talk about the breaking down. We can begin to talk about getting it's the process of breaking down into bits the policies associated with understanding how political activities work. Policies implemented, policy structures that have to do with the effectiveness, or that has to do with how political activities have been oriented, or how political activities are being carried out. What are the policies that determines, all right? You begin to dissect these policies because you want to know how political activities works. What are those blueprints? What are those guiding principles? What are those guidance and instructions that enables the effectiveness of political activities? Then we have policy analysis. Are we together? Okay. So let's take a step further. When we say approaches, all right, what do you understand by political approaches? Okay, political approaches. I'm giving us 1 minute. When we say political approaches, what are we referring to? Oh, wonderful. Getting some nice responses. Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Yes, lovely, lovely. I wonder, Mr. Felix should be on this stream, but I'm surprised he's not here. Maybe he's at work. I believe he will catch up with the class, with the recorded class. Yes, I so much love the responses here. All right, Mr. Tasha says a general strategy for studying political, yes, phenomenal, not bad. All right. Oh, I love this definition. Simple and precise. The how, you can now expand it how you like. The how of, all right, the how of a political study. How there is it has a connotative meaning. Okay, the how of a political study. Mrs. Regina says political approaches are the strategies, all right, you employ for studying political phenomena. Yes, for studying everything that has to do with politics. And we have a process determining how an inquiry should be conducted. Lovely definitions. All right, so we have political approaches at 10:30. Okay. So please, if you don't have the keynotes yet, you need to get the keynotes and study them. Use them to study and prepare for this exam. All right. So let's take a step further. Now, under this approach, there are a lot of approaches to the study of political phenomena. So I want us to talk about, in simple terms, what do you understand in simple terms? Explain the micro and macro approaches to political, all right? Okay, let's just micro and macro approaches in simple terms. So now I want to talk about micro, they want to talk about macro approaches. Okay? What do you understand by micro and what do you understand about macro approaches? Okay? If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember precisely, but I'm very sure if any one of us here did Echo 122, all right, we'll be very, very familiar with macro and micro economy. I remember those classes were very fun. All right, talking about micro and macro economy. Oh, wonderful. I'm getting some nice responses. Okay. Oh, lovely. Oh, wonderful. Awesome, yes. Lovely, wonderful. Okay, our time is fast spent because we really started behind schedule. Yes, we all have spoken well. All right, and I have my next class fast approaching, so we just have to call it a wrap very soon. And like I've explained, as soon as you have the keynotes, focus on them and you are good to go. Yes, when we talk about, don't forget, we are talking about approaches. All right, we know what political approaches are. So under these approaches now, we have the micro and the macro approaches. So when we say the micro now, it begins with the smallest unit. All right, like individuals, their behavior, and how it affects political decisions, political activities. But while on the other hand, macro approach begins with the largest, all right, talking about the political system itself. Then we have that as that. So let's take a few more questions and call it a wrap. Now, when we say looking at political activities from a traditional point of view, what are we talking about? When political activities are being considered, all right, when they are being looked upon from a traditional point of view or from the perspective of traditional analysis, what are we talking about? All right, traditional political analysis. Okay, traditional political analysis. Okay, let's submit our responses. Our time is fast spent. Okay, traditional political approaches. Okay, let's submit our responses. Oh, wonderful. Yes. From the historical. Good evening, Mr. Benjamin. You came a bit late because we're already calling a wrap, but it's good to have you on board still. Please do well to request the keynote of this course after the class. Now, our time is fast spent, so I just want to call a wrap with this one. So when we say this political analysis now. We are looking at political analysis from the lenses or from the view or from the perspective of history. All right? You know, history has a lot to do with tradition. History and tradition, they work pari passu. All right? And philosophers too, they know a lot about the traditions, the norms, the culture, the way of life of a particular community or a particular people. Talking about their politics is easy for them because they are philosophers, and before you become a philosopher of anything, you need to have an historical and in-depth understanding of the politics of that country. Alright, so looking at the traditional approach now, we're looking at it, or analysis, we're looking at it from the lens of history, philosophers, or what we refer to as institutions. Alright, don't forget that these institutions as well, they are being built by the ancestors or by the system that had existed for long. So basically it has to, all this is still pointing back to the tradition. Alright, and don't forget that political activities in Brazil is different from that of Nigeria. Political activities in America is different from that in China. So this is how it has to. This is what it looks like. So let's call it wrap here for today. It's quite unfortunate that we can't do much. So I just want to leave us to the keynote, and let's go and do well to study the keynotes well. And I wish you all the best and success in your exam tomorrow. And like I said earlier, you need to get the keynote of this course so that you can use it to prepare for the exam. Reach out to us on our official website, which is www.tutorial.net, and use the WhatsApp button on the top right corner to send us a direct message. I wish you all the best and success in your exams tomorrow. Do have a wonderful evening, and I'll be waiting to hear your testimonies. Yeah, you don't get to see answers, your grades immediately, but at least you can tell after writing an exam if the results of that exam will be okay or not by how much you have performed. All right, so I will be looking forward to hearing from you after your exams tomorrow. I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful evening, and bye for now.